I never expected my life to look anything like this. 2 years ago, I walked away from my corporate job at 34 years old and moved my family to Asia. Not because I was burnt out, not because I hated it. Honestly, I was thriving. I was on the top of my game. I loved the work and the people around me, and I was proud of what I had accomplished. But something unexpected happened. Something that completely changed the way I looked at work, at time, and what freedom actually means. And that moment led me towards a simple idea, one almost no one talks about, that ultimately allowed me to take even more control of my life. In this video, I'm going to share that journey, the choices that pulled me off autopilot, the lessons that reshaped how I approach time and money, and the path that made financial independence possible for me. It wasn't easy, it wasn't quick, but it led me somewhere I never expected. But first, let me take you back. For most of my life, I followed what many people call the American dream or the default path. You know the script. Go to school, get a job, climb the corporate ladder, buy a house, raise a family, take a vacation when you can, work until you're 65, and then, finally, live life at your own pace. It's a path that most people never question. Not because they chose it, but because it's what everyone else is doing. It's familiar, predictable, and safe. I followed it too. I checked the boxes, and for a long time, it worked. It really worked. Until it didn't. Before all this, I had started my career in accounting. 2 years in, I realized it wasn't for me. And while my friends were getting their first promotions, I made the first of many big decisions in my life. A complete U-turn into a new field with zero experience. It was terrifying, but in the best way. I felt more aligned with my work, a bit more in control of the direction I was going, but still, I was on that predetermined default path. But I pushed forward, year after year, and built a career I was proud of. 10 years passed in what felt like 10 minutes. And then, around that same time, I discovered something that would change the course of my life. It was called FIRE, which stands for Financial Independence Retire Early. But despite the name, FIRE isn't really about retiring. It's about choice. It's the freedom to move work down the priority list, not abandon it. It's the ability to choose how you spend the hours of your day, whether that means working, staying at home with your kids, traveling, building something new, or some sort of combination of them all. The basic idea is simple. Once your investments are big enough, you can live off about 4% of them each year without them ever running out. That's called the 4% rule, the shortcut to calculating your freedom number. Now, when I first heard of this, it sounded impossible, especially because I was living in one of the most expensive cities in North America, where the cost of living practically forces you into full-time work, no matter how much you earn and how well you manage your money. So I shrugged it off as a nice idea, maybe for someone else, someone who was more savvy than I was, or someone who had more years under their belt, but it was way off that default path that I was on. Now this would be a great time to give a quick shout out. Thanks to all of you who have supported my channel, I've been given the opportunity to partner with some amazing companies like Gaston Luga from Sweden. They sent me the backpack that I'm wearing in this video and I love it. They offer a wide range of styles and international shipping, so if you're interested, check them out and use my product code for 15% off. Everything shifted when my wife was pregnant with our first child. I'd read so much about how having present parents early in a child's life lays the foundation for healthy emotional development, so I knew I wanted to maximize the time I was able to give my son. So suddenly, the stakes felt higher, my time felt more valuable, and my presence felt more urgent. I realized that before, I didn't have a strong enough reason to step off the default path, but now I did. So I started to think more about that crazy FIRE concept that was introduced to me before. I watched many YouTube videos and did research about couples and families that were living an alternative lifestyle unlocked by FIRE. I realized that it was possible to do this. It wasn't going to be quick and easy, but FIRE wasn't just a theory anymore. It was a path. It was my new path, a significantly different path that not many had heard of, let alone traveled down. And that path became a plan. Thankfully, both my wife and I were on the same page, and we were able to dedicate both of our time to create our plan. It was going to take discipline, planning, lifestyle changes, and of course, time. It was going to require me to resign from my corporate job, which ended up being one of the biggest and most difficult decisions I made in my life so far. So, our plan started by me tapping into my old and dusty accounting skills to map out our finances. And from that, we were able to calculate what our freedom number looked like. And yes, there will be different variables for everyone on this path, but the biggest variable, the one that allowed this whole life to be unlocked for me, is called geographical arbitrage. Basically, it's living somewhere where your money goes further. So moving to Thailand became the final piece of the puzzle that allowed me to finally step off the default path that I was on my whole life. And we didn't reach full FIRE. After all, there are still many years ahead of us, and now with 2 young kids in tow, the expenses are only going to increase. But by moving abroad, our cost of living dropped dramatically, and for the time being, the financial pressure eased. I didn't need a full-time income to support our life. I could work slower. I could be more intentional and have more space to breathe and be present. But let me be honest, living abroad isn't so simple. It can be lonely, confusing, and it forces you to relearn everything. But it gave me what I wanted most, time. And that's the real currency of FIRE. If you're watching this and thinking, I can never do that, trust me, I get it. Quitting my job wasn't a clean Hollywood moment. Moving my family to literally the other side of the world was not easy. And saying goodbye to my family and friends would be a decision I would continue to question over and over again. There was fear. There was a loss of identity. There were days when I wondered if I'd made the right choice. But there are also the ups. I have never missed a school pickup, a dinner, or a bedtime with my kids. I now work on ideas, both business and personal, that matter to me. I build slowly, thoughtfully, and with no pressure to keep up. And most importantly, I can live an exciting and present life with my family at my side. And I wouldn't trade that for anything right now. So if you are interested in this lifestyle, you don't need a high salary and you don't need to be an expert investor either. You just need a roadmap and commitment to make it work. You can start by tracking your expenses to figure out how much you'll need to have invested for the 4% rule to work. And at the same time, you can start learning the basics of investing and putting your money into simple diversified funds instead of letting it sit. And most importantly, you need to question the default path. Ask yourself, is this the life I truly want? Or is it the one I fell into? Because awareness is the first step towards freedom. I'm not fully retired. I'm still working, still building, still figuring things out. But now, I get to choose what that looks like. And that's the point. Freedom isn't about quitting your job. It's not about some magic number. It's not even about moving abroad. It's about reclaiming the ability to choose your own path, even if it looks nothing like the default one. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Freedom isn't something you wait for. It's something you build, one small choice at a time. And if you're interested in this lifestyle or this journey, I'd love for you to follow along. I'm currently living in Japan with my family, sharing the real ups and downs of building a life here. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.